Hello, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. I can see me and hear me okay, but the past couple weeks, I think my Wi-Fi router is dying. I think it's on its last legs because it hasn't been working very well. Let me know if everything looks okay though. If it's good enough for streaming, then I'll be fine continuing. But just let me know. If it's not, I can switch to my phone. I could switch to my cell phone if things aren't working right. But yeah, let's see how it's going. YouTube was giving me some warnings saying it's the quality's too low for streaming. I'm recording it separately on my computer though, so I mean I'll be okay for making the what do you call it, the abridged version, the edited version. I just want to make sure everyone while you're live can still hear me and see me okay. Let's see. Oh, I gotta refresh this. 1 second. I actually had two separate technical issues this week. One is the internet. Like I'll probably have to get a new Wi-Fi router. I don't know how much those cost. The other one though, you can hear me, you can see me fine. Everyone in chat, I know if you're normally not talkative, I just want you to give me a message. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. That's all I care about right now. The other thing that's an issue. It's okay. We started early, so we have still a little bit of time to see if we can work something out. The other thing is that these beautiful lights that I put up several years ago, which flash whenever I get a donation, at the same time the lights died. So my router died, and my LEDs died. I need a moment of silence, everyone. I don't know if I can process this extreme guilt and sadness. Aniki says, you got a haircut? Yes, that's correct. I try to get a haircut at least once every few months. I think the last time I got it was beginning of January, so it was well overdue. But I'm going to be going to Korea next month. So that's actually something I'm going to talk about for today's live stream before we get started. I'm going to be in Korea from beginning of next month. So this live stream and next live stream, so this Sunday and next Sunday, are our last live classes for the entire summer. Kind of. Not for the whole summer, but for several months. I'm going to be gone in Korea, so May, June, and July. So the next time that I do a live classroom won't be until the very, very end of July at the soonest. So yes, that means this Sunday we have this wonderful class, which you're all gonna really like. It's an advanced topic, but I'm gonna make it accessible to all levels, including beginners. Yes, believe it or not. But then next Sunday, we're gonna get something new. I don't know what the topic will be. I'll have to make a new vote. But then after that, there will be a hiatus. I almost said hyena. There will be hiatus. I'm not gonna be doing classes while I'm in Korea, because obviously I'm not going to bring this in my carry-on, this board and all this stuff. So I can't do classes while I'm in Korea. I will do some live streams while I'm in Korea. We'll talk about that. Okay, glad you can see me. All right, now YouTube is telling me the stream health is excellent. Okay, good. But I still need to get a new Wi-Fi router. So what, if anyone's like techie out there, now I'm not computer illiterate. I'll say I'm pretty good. I'm pretty technical when compared to most people, but not when it comes to like networking stuff. I never really got into that stuff. If anyone else is technical out there, wants to send me an email if you can help. But I have a Google, what's it called? Google Mesh Wi-Fi. So I have that in my house, and I have 3 little pucks. And I think one of the little routers is dying. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure because my internet's fine. The actual internet, I've tested it. It's great. I mean, I like to hate on my internet company, but in this case, it's actually working fine. But the signal, as soon as it comes over to this cherry blossom forest, yeah, where I am right now, as soon as the Wi-Fi gets from my bedroom over here, for some reason it slows down to like less than 1 megabit. It's like really bad. So Yeah, sometimes it's a little better, other times it's worse. I'm like trying to move them around, see if it makes a difference. But I think one of them's just dying, and it's not something I can easily replace. I have to probably get a whole new router. So if anyone has any advice for that, if you actually know, send me a message. I'd appreciate it. How's everyone doing today? Hey, Grant! Jims! Long time no see, Jims! I was wondering where you'd gone off to. You used to upload videos pretty often, and I hadn't seen your new uploads. I, of course, subscribed to you, but I hadn't seen your videos pop up on my front page in a while. JJ Korean says, 안녕 빌리 오랜만이에요. 고맙습니다. Welcome. CE says, nothing like a live Korean lesson while I'm getting ready for work. Not sure how my concentration will be that it's 6:30 a.m. on Monday morning. Oh, you must be in Korea. I know in Korea or I'm just assuming, maybe it's not. I know in Korea right now, it's going to be very early in the morning, typically around 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on the time. Alexa Robinson, 빌리씨 안녕하세요, welcome. Grant says, I have had that happen with my mesh router. Yeah, I'm reluctant to just buy a new one because I bought this router in 2017 when I first came to this place, and it's been great. I really like the features now, but at the time it was a brand new concept that a regular person like me can buy, like a mesh routing system, works all easily. It used to be complicated, but nowadays I can buy some random, I can buy so many brands of routers, so they're not as expensive as they used to be, but I still did pay, I think, around $300 for my current one that I have at my house. So I don't want to throw it out if it still seems to work other than that. But yeah, one of these is dead, I think, or dying, and there's nothing really I can do about it. I did a test. I tried disconnecting from this one here, the little puck, the router thing here, and just going over Wi-Fi straight all the way over to my bedroom, and that actually was faster. So I don't know. Anyway, we're starting early as usual, so we got about 20 minutes. I'll take any Korean questions or whatever you have before we start the lesson. I wrote these up as the prerequisites for today's, but I'm just kind of joking. Prerequisites are knowing about attaching ki onto a verb ending, onto a verb stem. Literally, everyone can do this. Even if you haven't, as long as you've learned about verbs, everyone can do this. You don't really need to know this. It's just what we're using today. And then conjugating verbs. This is just so that you can understand the sentences that we're making. This is a very advanced topic we're doing today. So advanced that I myself have never once used this form in writing or in speech. There, I said it. That doesn't mean, though, that no one uses it. It's actually a good form to know. And I have read it a few times and I've heard it a few times. So it will be used, but it's just not the way that I speak in English or in Korean. And you'll see why when we do the form. But I'm going to make these forms, which, like I said, I don't use them, but they're still essential to know. Very easy to understand. Even if you're a beginner, you're going to understand 100% how these forms work and why they work that way. So you're going to be a master at three advanced forms today, whether you're a beginner or an intermediate speaker or advanced speaker today. So that you got something to look forward to, even if you're not quite ready for this class today. Let's see. Aniki says, what's your opinion on warm bibimbyeon? Warm bibimbyeon. Well, normally you have it as cold. That's fine, because if you make it with ramen, so bibimbyeon, for those of you who don't know, bibida is like to mix up. So it's so bibimbyeon is gonna be like spicy cold noodles. They're like noodles that have like spicy sauce in them, and you eat them cold. But if you buy them at the store, they're gonna be served like that. But you can also buy ramen packets that are the bibimbyeon, like that. And if you make it, it's still gonna be kind of warm. So it's fine. I don't think it's a crime. I mean, I also am not that picky about food in general. I think it's fine. Hey, Traga, welcome. Grant says, try turning off your broken. That's what I did try, and I found that it is faster. It's still not fast enough, though, because I'm quite far away from the other one. So it should be faster. I mean, I need faster internet normally. but I'm pretty sure it is a problem with this one. In fact, this one sometimes, the puck, I say puck, that's the little router for anyone who doesn't know. It has 3 little like hockey pucks that you put around your apartment, and then it kind of makes the Wi-Fi works anywhere you go, that sort of thing. I have one right here, and yeah, I did try that. It was faster when I disconnected the one that was in here. Bluesby says the Pardo package, yeah, that's right. The bibimbap package has instructions for both hot or cold. Okay, I didn't know that. Typically, you try to make it cold. You'll add like ice and stuff, but I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna be the bibimbap police here. You can eat however you want. Apart from the legend of Pepsi Zero Lime, Pepsi Zero Lime said, besides that, what other flavors of soda exist in Korea that you can't easily find in the States? What do you look forward to drinking over there? What drinks do I get in Korea? That's a good question. Lately, let's see. If I'm gonna treat myself, there are a few things I'll treat myself to in Korea. For drink wise, I'm gonna talk about these, so I'm not just gonna write them up and just say there you go, there you go. What else do I do? Oh, there's something else. These are the main 3 that come to mind. There are some other drinks like here and there that I'll get, but these are the ones I most often. Oh yeah. And then of course, well, I should probably write this correctly. Okay, the first one I'll say is banana milk. So banana uyu. If you're in Korea, you're gonna see this. You can actually get it outside of Korea. You can get this anywhere that has Korean food pretty easily. So this isn't a Korean exclusive thing. This is Korean exclusive. We'll talk about that. This is also hard to find outside of Korea. Samnasu you can find outside of Korea. But anyway, so banana milk, it's a Pingure is the brand, and they just make a really good banana milk. I don't know what else to say. It comes in these like kind of like shaped like a exploded like a barrel kind of, and you stick a little tiny plastic straw and go sip it out. It lasts like a minute. It's really good. It's tons of sugar though. So this is like, I feel like it has more sugar than soda, so be careful, but it's really good. The next one is sorenun, which I half recommend, I half don't. It is disgusting. It is sorenun is actually it means the pine needle. So think pine tree. You know, like your mom brings in the new Christmas tree or whatever from the top of your car, and she's like, hey, can you help us bring this in? So you go up to the car, you grab the tree, and you're carrying it, and you get like sap on your hands, and like the pine things like go all over your face, and they poke you in the eye. But the whole time you're carrying the Christmas tree, you smell it, right? You're like, oh, it smells like that, you know, that pine tree, that nice Christmas tree smell. Well, this is that in a soda. So they made, actually, is it carbonated? I actually can't remember if it's carbonated or not. It's like a soda though. It might not be carbonated. Anyway, it's like that in a drink. So imagine pine tree or Christmas tree flavored drink, but there's a caveat to that. This used to be really good because it used to taste gross. It used to actually taste like you're drinking sweetened Christmas tree flavored soda. But I don't know what they did to the recipe. Sometime around like the mid 2010s, around there, the company updated the recipe. What they did is, it feels like this is what they did. They reduced the strength of the Christmas tree flavor and increased the sugar a little bit. And it still has its kind of classic taste, but it's not as strong as I remember it used to be when I first had tried it. But it's definitely unique. I'd say give it a try. It's still though not bad. It's still okay. I feel like it used to be a little better. Yeah, Christmas tree drink. And then the next one is samdasu, which is just water from the island of Jeju. And it's just purified water, like drinking water. I think it's actually, natural spring water, I should say. It's semmur, which is spring water. It is just my favorite water in the world. And I mean that. I mean that as a water connoisseur. I really like water. Water is my favorite drink when I'm in Korea, when I'm in the US. I just love the taste of water, and each water like you have can taste a little bit different. Usually not bad, but like good in different ways. So sometimes I would like different types of water in Korea. This is my favorite. I've tried all the water in Korea. This is the best. Samdasu. It's also not the most expensive. It's cheaper than like Evian, which I think tastes gross. Evian has like no flavor, but Samdasu just has like, it tastes like you stuck a straw into the side of a mountain and like drank the water directly from the source. That's what it tastes like. It's like kind of like Fiji water, but half the price, because Fiji is like extremely expensive, if you know what I'm talking about. And then last but not least is Chilseong Saida, which actually has a story to it. So if you want to know what Chilseong Saida means, soda, lemon or lime flavored soda. So this is basically what we would consider 7-Up. And if you want to know what it tastes like, it tastes pretty much exactly like 7-Up in the US. Exactly. Like zero difference. Like if you had a can of 7-Up and you had a can of Chilseong Saida, it's the same thing. Why don't you just buy 7-Up in Korea then? Because 7-Up in Korea is not 7-Up in the US. 7-Up in Korea is a different recipe. I believe it's even, they use like a artificial sweetener in it or something. I might be wrong on that, but it tastes like they have some sort of artificial sweetener in the 7-Up that's in Korea. Why did they do that? My guess, my opinion, this is not fact, I have no knowledge of this, is that Chilseong Saida copied 7-Up and released in Korea. So 7-Up, which wasn't in Korea originally, decided, hey, let's enter the Korean market. Uh-oh, there's this other soda that tastes exactly like us. What do we do? Well, we can't just release our soda. It'll taste the exact same. People will think we're copying them. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to release a different flavor. So they change the recipe. They adapt it to taste something, I don't know. It's gross. I don't like 7-Up in Korea. It's disgusting. Never drink it. So 7-Up in Korea is not 7-Up in the US, but this is. So if you ever want to have 7-Up, it's this. And you might think, well, 7-Up, Sprite, Shasta lemon, what's the difference? They're all, okay, if you're asking that in the first place, you need to try them because they're very different. 7-Up versus Sprite, typically 7-Up just has a little bit more sugar in it. So I think that when you're having a meal, I prefer 7-Up. I kind of like that higher sugar content when you really just want like a refreshing soda, right? So I'll have like 7-Up if I'm having like samgyeopsal or I'm having like a big meal. You know, you're already kind of full. Your palate's already getting attacked by all these different flavors. If you like drink something really light, like water, that's not really going to feel like as refreshing as something that's like a dessert, like, 7-Up or something. So I like that. Yeah, you can easily get it in Korea. I see it sometimes at the Korean market, but it's not as easy to get. Oh, and there's one more. That is Milkis. Milkis is a milk soda, believe it or not. It's like carbonated milk with lots of sugar and watered down. So it's not just carbonated milk. That's kind of disgusting, but it's milk flavored 7-Up, if that makes more sense. So it's, yeah, really sweet and it's carbonated a lot and it has like a bubbly, soft, creamy flavor from milk. They have lots of flavors of it, but I've had a lot of the flavors. I think the original flavor is the best. Yeah, it's just like a creamy Sprite. Like, root beer is good. Cream soda is like just vanilla flavored root beer. But then this is like a cream flavored Sprite, if that makes sense. But it's really good. And if you want a really good drink, mix this with a packet of blue lemonade that you can buy at any convenience store. They sell them in little pouches. They have like strawberry flavor, watermelon flavor, blue lemonade. Just mix it. You can do whatever ratio you want. I prefer mostly like, I do like 75% of blue lemonade and 25% Milkis, but you can do half and half if you want. It's extremely good. It tastes like an expensive drink at like a fancy restaurant, but it's like $2. So that's the last drink I'll recommend. Raymond says, Soul Milk is also great. No, it's not. I'm sorry. No. Milk. Don't get me started on milk because milk was the biggest pet peeve of mine when I lived in Korea for when it comes to beverages was milk, because Korea classifies milk differently than we do in the US for several reasons. Okay, well, let's first start talking about milk, okay? So hopefully everyone's okay here that I'm talking about milk. Oh, Hope Gate. Hey, Hope Gate. It's actually you requested today's topic for 그지없다. So this lesson's for you. I'm glad you're here. But anyway, about milk. Okay, this is typically what we would know as milk in the US. And if there's anything I know better than water flavors, it's milk. Okay, first there's raw milk or non-homogenated milk, unpasteurized milk. This can be milk that's not processed in different ways. Maybe they don't mix it or maybe they don't sterilize it, which is actually the biggest one. The sterilization, the pasteurization that they do to milk is what changes the milk's flavor to become slightly sweet. So if you want milk that's less sweet, and like noticeably a tiny bit less sweet, you can try raw, unpasteurized milk, but just know that it's technically a tiny bit less safe to drink. So I don't know, people don't really get sick from it, but technically you could. But raw milk is there. It just has everything. It has the cream at the very top. The cream, it doesn't come out because it's plugged with cream. But that's like nothing's done to it. Then there's whole milk where they take off all the cream at the top. They process it, homogenize it, which means mixing it. They pasteurize it, which means killing out all the bacteria and heating it. And that changes the flavor very slightly to be ever so slightly sweet, but you still got all that cream in there, just not the big layer on the top. Majority of people buy whole milk, 2% milk in America. I'd say this is the majority of people. And then some weirdos buy 1%. And then 0%, it exists, but I'm pretty sure they stock it and then immediately throw it away at the grocery store because there's nobody crazy enough to buy that. Maybe if you're on a special diet where you can't have happiness, you could have 0%, but it's not even healthy for you. Like, just drink water. You're going to have 0%. Like, what are you doing with your life? So whole milk, I love whole milk, but it's high calorie. It's probably not the healthiest one. But yeah, I like whole milk, but then you can find that. I'm not sure what percentage whole milk is, actually. Is it like 6% or something? Anyway, you can get or maybe it's 3 or 4%. Anyway, you can get whole milk. You can get 2% milk. And this is about as far as I'll go. I'll accept 2% milk for drinking because it still has a little bit of cream. It's still like milky. Anything below that is like, I don't know what you're doing. It's like almond milk to me. It's pretty much the same thing. Which isn't terrible. I just don't drink it. So this is what we're familiar with in the US. I don't know what everyone's favorite type of milk is, but in Korea, you have a different picture. Oh, where'd the raw milk go? Well, we're in Korea, so we got to make a few changes. Uh-oh, where's the whole milk? Okay, so the thing with whole milk is that it's expensive to make any sort of dairy product in Korea. Milk, cream. Oh, don't even get me started on cheese. You want to buy a block of cheese? Let's hope you have enough to get a loan from the bank. Cheese is so ridiculously expensive in Korea that when you buy cheese at if you want to go buy like a bag of cheddar cheese, right? You think, oh, I'll buy like a $2 bag of cheddar cheese, just a small bag. Nope, doesn't exist. You want to buy shredded cheddar cheese? You know what you could buy is they sell this bag of like salad topping cheese, and it's individually packaged in these small like 0.3 ounce bags that you rip up and sprinkle a little bit on your salad, and that bag will cost like $6. It does not exist. You can buy block cheese in Korea. It's just prohibitively expensive. It's not something you're just going to buy a big block and cut in pieces and snack on. Even something as simple as string cheese, right? You can buy string cheese from the grocery store, like 12 of them in a bag for like $3, 24 for like $5, 100,000 of them for like $8. You know what I'm talking about. You go to Costco. They're cheap. You want to buy string cheese in Korea? The guy's going to like lock the door, open his coat, and then show you his string cheese collection, and they're like $2 a pop. I'm not kidding. These are expensive. You can find them at the convenience store. They'll have mozzarella, you know, the little string cheese sticks. There'll be the non-fat or the low-fat version. You know, who wants those? But they have them. And they'll be like 2,000원, like, you know, 2001. So about $1.50, $1.70, depending on the exchange rate. So that's what you got. So because of that, whole milk's out of the picture. I like 2% milk. 2%'s okay. Well, 2% is considered the whole milk. That's like the farm milk, like the real milk in Korea. And you can buy that these days. It'll be like 1 liter. 1 liter. And I'm not exactly sure the price because I haven't checked since last year in the summer, but I think it was around 3,000 won-ish. They have some brands that are like 2,500, but ish, you can think about $2, $3 for 1 liter. For reference, in the US, as you know, we sell a gallon. 1 gallon is about 4 liters. And I bought a gallon of milk yesterday because I ran out. I spent $3.39, and that was like regular grocery store price. I could have gotten it cheaper if I went to somewhere else. So if this was priced in the US, 1 gallon of milk would cost us around $10. If you're thinking about that, if you want a gallon of milk, and that's 2%, again, not whole, which is normally more expensive. And then there is what's called, this is regular, and then there's what's called sorry. Not so good at writing sideways. Just gonna go in front. There we go. Okay. 저지방 우유. 저 meaning low in Hanja. 지방 meaning fat. And 우유 meaning milk. So you can guess what this word means. 저지방 우유 or 저지방 anything means low fat milk. Literally low fat milk. That in Korea, you might think low fat milk would be 2%, but no, the regular is 2%. This is like the special is 2%. The low fat though is what we would consider 1% or what I would consider undrinkable. It's not going to be 0 though, because that wouldn't be low fat, but it's around 1%. And this is going to be the most common type of milk you can find. So like you're talking about Seoul milk, you say is pretty good. They have a 2% as well, but they also, people typically buy the 저지방 우유 because just like in the US, in Korea, they're under the assumption that fat equals become fat when it's not. You know, sugar leads to weight gain and stuff, but fat isn't the cause of weight gain. It's just calories. So yeah, they'll drink low fat milk thinking it's healthier. So you'll find this more easily. And this is also around the same price, a little bit cheaper though, maybe like 2,000, 2,300 around for a liter. But yeah, I don't like it. In fact, when I was first in Korea, hopefully everyone's still, people haven't left. I'm talking about milk now for like the past 20 minutes. It's already time to start the lesson. Okay, but this is more important. So this is a true story. When I came back from Korea, my very first time returning back from Korea, my mom came to pick me up at the airport. And she asked me, is there anything that you want me to get you that you really missed eating that I can get for you? You know what I actually said? The totally true story. You can ask my mom. I said, yes, milk. Get me a bottle of milk. No joke. So when I went to the airport, she picked me up. She handed me a bottle. It was in like a small, like a cooler, you know, one of those little coolers with ice in it. It was filled with ice. And in there was this little bottle of, I don't remember what brand it was now. It was like whatever general brand, popular brand milk at the time. And yeah, it was this little container of milk. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I love you. Yeah. So when you go to Korea, you can get good tasting milk nowadays. At that time, it was actually harder because most of the milk I saw was 저지방 우유. This was back in 2005 when I was first there. Nowadays, there are milk brands that do make decent tasting milk. One of them is actually cheap, and it is Denmark. You'll see this one. It's actually really common now. They came out about, I want to say they started appearing around 6 to 8 years ago. I'm not sure when they were founded, but that's when they started appearing in the stores. Denmark is a brand. Obviously, it's Denmark, but they make dairy products, and they're pretty affordable. And this brand leans heavily toward the higher percentages. So you'll find this, they'll have 2%, they'll have sales. So instead of 3,000 for a liter, these ones will be like 2,200. So they're actually cheaper than other brands, but they taste better. Denmark is good. There's also another brand. I can't remember this one. I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you because I can't remember the brand. But there's another brand that has like really fancy. It has like really fancy Hangul writing or whatever. It looks like some old style, and I can't remember. It's Mok something. And they also sell like nice 2%, tastes kind of creamy. It's as good of 2% as you can get. These are acceptable. Anything else though, I avoid for milk. It's just, it never hits the spot. Okay, that's enough milk. If there are any vegans watching, I apologize. I grew up with milk. I love it, but I do respect if you want to have almond milk, just keep it away from me. It's not good. Okay, so Korea just got about 2% less cool. Yeah, so you got to look out for that. Do not buy choljibang uyu unless you really want choljibang uyu. But if you're doing it for your health, for your diet, it's not. Just get the higher fat content, and then instead drink or eat less sugar. That'll be better for your health, as I've been told. Okay, so again, I go to Korea the beginning of next month. So next week is our last live class, and then we're gonna have to take a break until the very end of July. So the topic we have today is a very advanced topic, but I'm gonna make it accessible to all of you out there, regardless of your level. This is an idiomatic expression, and the way that it works is you take a descriptive verb. So that's any verb that is for describing something. So it's not going to be an action. It's not going to be like 먹다, to eat, or 하다, to do. This would be something like 이다, to be, or 춥다, to be cold, or 맛있다, to be delicious. These are descriptive verbs. So you take one of those verbs, you get the stem, which is just removing the ta at the end. You attach 기 to it, which now makes it into a noun. That's really all you need to know about the 기 at the end. So if you have 맛이 있다 is your verb, to be delicious. Well, now you have 맛이 있기, being delicious, the noun, if you want to understand how that works. Then you attach 짝이 없다 and you conjugate 없다. So what is this form? Well, it literally means 짝. 짝 is a pair. As in, like, you have one of them and now you have the other one. You have a pair, a match for something. I have one 짝 and now I have another 짝. They are the pair together, they match. So that's a pair. So literally, 짝이 없다 means there is no match. As in, there is no second pair for something. So there is no pair, or there is no match for how a descriptive verb is the literal meaning you get. So if we were to take our example with 맛있다, to be delicious, what you're saying is there is no match for being delicious. Okay, that's literally all that it means. You can think of there is no match for as meaning it's incomparably. So something is incomparably, whatever descriptive verb, whatever verb you're using here is incomparably. By that it means couldn't be more, or something is so much, therefore it's incomparably that much. Note that this form is always used as 짝이 없다. Now, I said that 짝 means a pair or a match, and this E is just the subject marker. Normally, you can remove subject markers in conversation, but not with an idiomatic expression. When it's always used this way, it's always used this way. So it's always 짝이 없다, not 짝 없다. That would be really weird if you removed it. That's why there's no parentheses here. Okay, I'm going to take just a 30-second break so you can write this down, and then we'll continue. And then there are a couple more things we still have to talk about. Hopegate says, I'm just very lactose intolerant. Most people are. Pretty much every Korean I've met is also lactose intolerant. It's really, really common. 유당불내증 is what the word is in Korean. I had to think about that. 유당, 유 is milk, 당 is sugar. 불내증 is like I forgot what the 내 is for. But anyway, it's like a condition where you are unable to, I can't remember what that is. It might be deal with or something. I can't remember the hansa for that. But anyway, yeah, 유당불내증 is the lactose intolerance, and it's the majority in Korea. Most people have it. Brian C says, added sugar is the real dietary problem. Yes. Yes. Thank you for saying that. Okay. And as for lactose intolerance, everyone else in my family is slightly lactose intolerant, except, is my little brother too? He might not be. He might be okay. But most people in my family also are. I just am not. I'm the odd one out. In a lot of ways. I have different hair than all my other family members too. I'm pretty sure I'm not adopted. I'm pretty sure about that. But there are lots of factors. If you meet my family sometime, there are lots of factors about me that do not match with the other with my other family members. Except I do look pretty close to my younger brother, and our voices are very similar. That's the one way you can know that I'm not adopted. But as far as like other features, like my height, my shape of my head, my hair, all these things like tolerances, my teeth, everything is like from a different part of the family, and the rest of my family all grab their traits from the other side. I'm the only one who grabbed my traits from my dad's side, actually. Oh, if you're also lactose intolerant, I mean, you can also, of course, drink or eat. Yogurt is a common option. Koreans love their yogurt because yogurt does not have very much lactose in it, because the process of making it yogurt, the bacteria eats all of that lactose when they make the yogurt in the first place. So it doesn't have lactose very much. So that's good. Cheese is also, no. Cheese could be still bad too, because that could have, anyway, I don't know exactly what happens to lactose when making cheese. I've never made that before. I've only made yogurt, so I know about that. But yeah, have yogurt if you're lactose intolerant. There are tons of yogurt drinks in Korea. Okay, so you can also just think of this form one more way. Here's one easier way you can think about this form. That's it. 너무 something. Or 정말 something. That's it. Almost. But that's really what this form is used for. It's used for just saying something is so. Literally, again, it is incomparable how much it is. Okay, so there's one more thing you need to know. Oh yeah, there are actually two more things. So this form is used to emphasize something that is so much or extremely. So it's used for emphasis. You're not just saying it is very delicious. It is very cold. It is very old. It is very weird. You're not just saying it is very, but you're emphasizing it. You're saying it is so much that it has no match. It is incomparably that. So it's for emphasis. And there's one more thing you also have to know about this form. It is only used in a negative, as in bad way. It's not going to be used to show something that you're praising. Like, oh, while I used this example of delicious, you actually couldn't use that verb. So I made a mistake by picking that as the verb when I was giving you the conjugation example. Let's do a better example. 맛 없다, to be not delicious, to taste bad, to have a bad taste. You could use it with that, but you can't use it to say something is so wonderful, so cool, so great. It's only used for negative things. You could say, it was so boring. That's so unfair. They are so childish. It is so irresponsible to do that. It's only used for negative emotions, not used for praising something. So the most common way that you're going to hear this form is when somebody is complaining. And that's all you need to know. Let's do some example sentences. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I actually, my wrist kind of hurts. I don't think I can write this sentence. I think you should write this sentence for me. I'll write up, I think I can manage to write up a few words that you can use, but I want you to say the movie was so boring. And I'm going to give you the words you need. Movie is 영화. 영화 for movie. You probably knew that. And then boring, as in it makes you feel bored, specifically something is boring, is 지루하다. 지루하다. So I want you to say the movie was, note, it's past tense. I want you to say the movie was so boring, as in, man, that movie was so boring. It's incomparable to anything else, how boring it was. It's extremely, how boring that movie was, it couldn't be more boring. It has no match for how boring that movie was. So I want you to make this sentence. Oh, Traga says, is this form commonly used? Commonly, no, but it's fine. It's not especially formal or informal either. It's just a normal form. Although I will let you know anytime a form is like, it has a formal feeling or a fancy feeling or casual feeling. No, this is just straightforward. You're not going to be using this every single sentence because you're basically saying it's incomparable. Like it could not be more is what you can think of it as feeling like. But you could use the expression, it couldn't be more boring to your friends. You could use it to anyone as long as you're not using it in like a formal situation to your boss when you're complaining about something that they did. But the form itself is not like formal or casual or anything like that. Okay, let's see. Traga says, 영화 지루하기 짝이 없었어요. Perfect. Lexica as well. 영화가 지루하기 짝이 없었어요. Perfect. Aniki as well. Perfect. Evolving Brain asks, could it be better translated as egregiously? Sure. It's just that you're emphasizing something that's negative. It is so, or it couldn't be more in that sort of sense. 지루하기 짝이 없었어요. Perfect, Hopegate. Let's see everyone else's sentences. 윤태일 wrote, 한국에 갈 짝이 없다. Yeah, that's literally the word 짝, which is a pair or a match, as in like a partner, someone to go with you. They're just being silly, just being so silly, 윤태일. Let's see, Uki Bear. Oh yeah, Uki Bear. Small typo for the 짝, and then you would want to use either the topic marker or the subject marker for the movie, since you're not doing something to the movie, but you're describing the movie, in which case, if you're not doing something to it, you cannot use the object marker. So you'd want to use a different marker. Like I would recommend 영화가 or 영화는 could also work. Let's see here. Just reading the other sentences. Nice, nice. Alexi, you do not use the past tense. You use 하기, and then you would make the 없다 into the past tense. In case anyone else was wondering about that, you simply use the regular verb stem as is. So 하다 would become, in this case, 지루하다 would become 지루하기. And then if you want to make past tense, you do that with the verb at the end, 없다. So 없었어요 like that in the past tense, or 없어요 in the present tense. Okay. Let's see if I have any other sentences. Nice, Maria. Esqui, I can't read your name. Nice. CE, nice. Ayakata, that's not, again, you don't want to use the past tense. Kevin, yes. Tilak Rihal, 지루하기? Yes. Oh yeah, I see you fixed it. Yes, yes, yes. And then when you fixed it, you wrote 자루. It's 지루. Let's see. 영화 지루하기 짝이 없었어요 for Riley C. You're just missing a 어요 at the end. Yes? Okay. Let me give you an answer. Let's see. 영화가 지루하기 짝이 없었어요. 영화, the movie. 지루하다, boring. 지루하기 짝이 없었어요. So there was not a pair for how boring the movie was, is what you're saying. Literally, it is incomparably. So the movie couldn't have been more boring. Or just the movie was so boring. Again, this is for negative usage. You're kind of complaining about it. You wouldn't say the movie was so wonderful with this form. You couldn't. It wouldn't make any sense. The movie was so boring. 영화가 지루하기 짝이 없었어요. Okay, the next sentence. Can I have you do this as well? Oh, you know what? My wrist still hurts a little bit. I think I need you to do just one more sentence. Then one more, and then I'll do the rest of them. Okay, I want you to make this sentence. It's really so unfair. It couldn't be more unfair. The word you're going to use for unfair is 억울하다. 억울하다. This means like, oh, that's so unfair. Like that's mean. That's unfair. That's not fair in that sort of sense. There's another word literally for unfair if you're saying something's unbalanced, but this is more like the feeling of like, come on, oh, that's unfair. That's not right. 억울하다. So I want you to say it's just so unfair. It couldn't be more unfair. It is incomparably unfair. How unfair it is it has no match, literally. Ridiculously could work. Any way you want to translate this is fine. Aniki, perfect. 억울하기 짝이 없지요. You wouldn't use 기는. I mean, you could do it if you want, but it would, if anything, you would be 기가 if you wanted to add a marker in, because you're actually describing the noun form of the descriptive verb, which is 억울하기, like being unfair. So that would be with 가. If you used 는, it's like it was so unfair, which has an added emphasis that I can't think of a situation when you would need it. That would be if you were to use 긴 or 기는. So I'd recommend if you do want to use something there, you can use the subject marker, 기, 가, but it's not necessary. 그냥 억울하기 짝이 없어요. Perfect. Hopegate. 억울하기. Yes, you got it. Okay, perfect. Now let's see some of the other sentences we have. Kevin Fitch. Nice. Luca Pieroni, not a sentence, but good luck. You're starting the basic Korean course. Good luck with that. Also note, I did make the sequel to that, which is just started a couple weeks ago, the beginner conversation course. So after you finish that, you do have somewhere else to go, which is also another free course. 짝이 없는데. Nice. Ukibear. Yes. 억울하기 짝이 없어요. Nice. Cookie. Yes. Learning Korean is so unfair. Okay, Alexi, nice. 억울하기 짝이 없어요. Nice. All right, CE, take care. Evolving Brain, nice. Xandria, 짝이 없었어요. Perfect. No, that's fine. You can just catch up. We're now on the next sentence. Lore B, small typos for 짝이 and 억울하다, but your sentence, grammatically, it's fine. Flo Purdy as well. Yeah, I see 억울하기. Other than the typo, perfect. Riley C as well. Nice sentence. Okay. 정말 억울하기 짝이 없어요. So literally, there is no match for how unfair it really is. But it's just saying it's so unfair. It couldn't be more unfair. Like, I just feel like this is so unfair right now. It really couldn't be more unfair. It's so unfair. 정말 억울하기 짝이 없어요. Man, I feel like this is so unfair. 정말 억울하기, which is 억울하다. 억울하다 is to be unfair. 짝이 없어요. Or 짝이 없습니다. However you want to say it. Doesn't always have to be the you form. Okay, the next sentence. This next sentence is really for people who are intermediates because you have to know how to conjugate a verb to describe someone. So if you do not know how to conjugate a verb to describe like someone who is tall, someone who runs fast, like if you can't make that sort of sentence, don't worry about this one. But for everyone else, I'm going to give you one more sentence I want you to try. And that is to say, they are they are so childish or immature. The verb you use for saying someone is childish or immature, like, in a negative way, is 유치하다. 유치하다. So you want to say they are so, whoever you want to say, doesn't matter. You can say that person. You can say they are a immature person. 사람. You can use the word 사람. I'll give you a hint. So you're going to say something, 사람. I want you to say they're such, or they're so, or they couldn't be more of an immature, childish person. So that's such an immature person. Any way you want to say it. I'm not going to give you more instruction because there are several ways you could make this sentence. Yes. Okay, let's see who's going to be the first for this sentence. While I drink some more of my caffeine drink. And there's different ways you could say this. 철수 is extremely. So what your sentence on key, which is perfect, your sentence says 철수 is an extremely immature person, but it doesn't mean they are a extremely immature person. It means 철수 is an extremely immature person. Period. So you'll see what I mean. There's going to be a slight, I can't give you what I was looking for without telling you the actual answer, but there's another way you could write that. Let me give you a hint, though. I'll give you a hint. You want to make 짝이 없다 into an adjective to describe the kind of person that they are. If you do that, you get bonus points. Let's see. Really, really close evolving brain. The way that 없다 conjugates into an adjective is not 없은, but 없는. But other than that, yes. 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 Aniki. Perfect. I really wanted to say perfect to someone. Yes. Lexica. Perfect as well. That's what I was looking for. That's the kind of feel I was looking for. If you don't get that, don't worry about it. It's just a more intermediate usage of the how to describe someone. Instead of just saying they are very immature, you're saying, oh, that's such an immature person. It's just a different type of sentence versus saying they are immature, they are an immature person. That's what I was looking for is the second one. Both are correct. Both are natural, but they have different nuances, right? In English as well. They're immature. They're an immature person. Yes, Amarachi. I'm just reading some of your other sentences. Sarah, Maria. Yes, yes, yes. Delicious. Yes. Okay. Let me give you the sentence. It's actually pretty close. I think a few of you actually got this exact same one. Okay. 유치하기 짝이 없는 사람이에요. So 유치하다 is to be childish or immature. So 짝이 없는. So now we're going to be describing something that comes after. So in this case, 사람. So it's a person who is extremely, or they couldn't be more immature or childish. So they are a person who couldn't be more immature or childish, literally, or just they are such a childish person. 유치하기 짝이 없는 사람이에요. Leave this up for just a second. Tragus says, isn't this form more commonly used with the plain form? Do you mean at the end? Like ida? Nope. This form can be used with anything. Tilak just has a small typo for 짝. So yeah, you could say 유치하기 짝이 없어요. They are so immature. But now we have 유치하기 짝이 없는 사람이에요. They are someone who is so immature, literally, or they're such an immature person. So they're such an immature person. They're so immature. They're such an immature person. There's a slight nuance difference, but they're both okay. Okay. Last sentence, but then we still have two more forms, which are actually even easier, I think cooler than this one. Okay, next sentence. I'm just going to give you the answer because it would take a while to get to here. 책임하기 짝이 없는 행동이에요. Okay. 그건, so 그것은, that thing is 무책임. 무책임하다 literally means no responsibility. 무책임하다 is irresponsible. 짝이 없는 행동. 행동 means an act or an action, but it can also be used to mean a behavior. So that kind of behavior is so irresponsible. So that is such irresponsible behavior. 그건 무책임하기 짝이 없는 행동이에요. So that's such irresponsible behavior. You're acting so irresponsible, that is, or whoever it is, that is such irresponsible behavior. 그건 무책임하기 짝이 없는 행동. So behavior that has no match for how irresponsible it is. I'll leave this up for just a sec, and then we're going to go to the next form. Any questions while we're doing this? We have two more forms. These are the other ones we're doing are actually much shorter. We only have a couple more sentences. I guess I'll take this quick break to say if you want an additional 8 more sentences about this form, you can download this worksheet and worksheets for all of my live streams on my Patreon page. And it's, if you wonder, how much does it cost, Billy, to join your Patreon page? Well, I'm glad you asked, anonymous person. It only costs $1 or slightly less depending on what country you're in. $1 gets you access to every single one of my live stream outlines. So that's all these sentences we're doing and all the notes. It also gets you access to all of the worksheets for every single live stream I've ever done and ever will do. And it also benefits me because it pays me to buy supplies that I need. Like I have to buy new lights because I don't know when I'm gonna, I can't do it right now, but I have to buy new lights for this because I think this light strip is dead. The controller died. And I also have to buy a new Wi-Fi router, which is wonderful. I love buying new Wi-Fi routers because I think it died sometime in the last 2 weeks. It hasn't been working right. But yeah, all your donations go toward me getting these, keeping this channel going and replacing equipment and upgrading stuff. So thank you to those of you who can. And back to your regular scheduled programming. Oh, so yeah, someone said 무책임하다 is descriptive. Yes, it is. 무책임하다, to be irresponsible, literally to have no responsibility in that sort of sense. If you're wondering why it has 하다, 하다 doesn't only mean action verb. 하다 by itself is always an action verb. But when you see 하다 attached to a verb and it cannot be removed, that means it's part of the descriptive verb. And there are a lot of those. If you see 무책임 like 하다 or 무책임은 하다 or anything like that, it couldn't, if it was, that is not a real combination, then that would mean it would have to be an adjective. But if you, action verb. But if you ever look up a word in the dictionary, it'll always show you what it is. It'll say either 동사, which is action verb, or it'll say 형용사, which is descriptive verb. Literally, we would say this as adjective, but Korean doesn't really work the same way for that. But yeah, this would be verb and descriptive verb is the terms they use in the Korean dictionary. Sometimes you'll find verbs that have both. Really common one is 있다 and 없다. Those are both descriptive verbs and action verbs, depending on how they're being used. But yeah, 무책임하다 would be for descriptive. So that is everything about 자기없다, but there's another form that's used in a very suspiciously similar way. And that is 그지없다. It's used in the same way. You take a descriptive verb stem, you attach 기 just like before, and then you use 그지없다, which is one word, and you can conjugate it just like before. It's used in the same way as 자기없다, to emphasize that something is so much, or it couldn't be more. It's incomparably so much. But the literal meaning is slightly different, and there's one additional thing you need to know. This can be used with both positive and negative sentences. You can use it to say something is so unfair, or you can say something is so wonderful. It's so bad. It's so good. You can use this with any sentence. So this sentence, this form is actually more versatile. I think it's cooler than 자기없다, right? Because you can use it for anything. There isn't that restriction that it has to be something bad, something you're complaining about. You can praise something with this. The literal meaning, though, of this form is a little different. So, short story time, 그지없다, literally means to have no end to something or to have no limit to something. So when you're saying, like our example, 맛이 있다, to be delicious, you're saying 맛있기 그지없다. You're literally saying there is no end to how delicious it is. There is no limit to how delicious it is. Or there is no end to how frustrated I was. Or there is no end to how much I missed this person. Like anything like that. So you're literally saying there's no end or limit. And this, in fact, this word originally comes from the Korean word 끝. So it actually is 끝이 없다. Kind of. Now, it doesn't actually come from 끝, but 끝 comes from the same word that this came from. This was originally a word that meant an end. So this was an older Korean word that means end, combined with the subject marker e, and it became 끝 due to sound change rules, something like this. This isn't the actual way it looked, but this is kind of how it works, so you can get an idea. 그지, like that. So it was originally the word 끝, which is the same meaning. 끝이 없다 became one word used as a single piece as 그지없다. Literally, there is no end. So you can think of it as meaning there is no end to how something is. I'll leave this up for just a minute and then we'll go on to our first sentence. And yeah, there's no space. This is used as one word. You can find this word in the dictionary, 그지없다. It's just one word. Copegate says, if you use this to say you were frustrated, no, it's just saying there was no end to how frustrated I was. If you use it in the past tense, there's no end to how frustrated I am. Literally means you are because you're using it, but it's not because of this. It's because you're just using it in the present tense. So if you use present tense, it means now, yes. If you use past tense, it means I was. So there isn't anything like that. Rorez asks, 비가 그치다. That's a different word. 그치다. Although originally, sure, they have similar origins, I believe. But that's an action verb, means to end, like stop, like the rain stopped. That's not this. This is 그지, not 그치, but 그지없다. Lauren asks, is this one more common? No. They're both pretty similar. I can't say one is super common or one is uncommon. They're both used. As well as the next form we're going to learn as well. Oh, M. Farrap says, and a wrist brace. Well, actually, I do have a wrist brace, but I don't use it when teaching. I'll use that when I'm editing long videos day after day after day. Like when I come back from Korea every year and I have like a backlog of 20 videos I have to edit, then I'll wear that to protect my wrist. But I think that's like the third one I've had. I go through one of those every couple of years. But yeah, not for teaching though. Not for this. I'm just joking. My wrist is fine right now. All these forms can be used with nouns. Yeah, if you want to make the descriptive verb 이다, then you would say noun, 이다, which is 이기, 그지없다, or 짝이없다 from before. 박물관은 신기하기 그지없어요. You used it correctly. 신기하다 would be a descriptive verb. Okay, so let's do an example sentence. I only have 2 example sentences for this form, but I want you to do it. I was thinking like, I want you to say, I am so, I'm just so frustrated. 답답하다. 답답해. Oh, 답답해. You want to say you are so frustrated. Literally, there's no end to how frustrated I am. I'm just so extremely frustrated. So how would you say, I'm just so frustrated? Again, this is a negative meaning, so you could use 짝이없다 like before, but now we're going to use 그지없다 instead, because 그지없다 can be used for both positive and negative meanings. Rorez talks about origin. Yeah, anytime, if you check on Naver Dictionary, it'll actually show you the origin for words when it knows it. I would put down money that 그치다 has a similar origin, but I'm not sure exactly how, like where that change happened. But that's my guess, is that it has a similar origin. Let me check while people are making sentences. Yep. Yeah, Naver lists that it came from 그, which was 이다, and then 이다 makes it what's called a 사동사, a causative verb in Korean. So causing something to finish, which I believe would have been similar to 그 for finish. So yeah, it doesn't say in Naver that it's directly from here. So I would have to then do another check, but I'm pretty sure that would be the same origin. Okay. Let's see our sentences. Lexica is our first member. Perfect. Aniki, perfect. Nice. Traga, perfect. Hopegate, perfect. Flo Purdy, perfect. Okay, now let's check everyone else's. Maria, nice. Kevin, nice. Uki Bear, nice. Cookie. Okay. You can use it with any verb you want. Riley C, let's see. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Cookie as well. Yes. M Ferrip. Yep. Yuna. Yep. Yep. For T-Lock. Yeah, everyone's got it. I was hoping I'd get to correct people, but no, you all got it. So we just get key. 답답하기 그지없습니다. So there is no end to how frustrated I am, literally. But you don't really have to think about it like that. You can just think about it as I'm extremely frustrated. 답답하기 그지없습니다. So I'm so frustrated. One more sentence. This one I'm going to give it to you because it's quite long. I don't think there'd be anyone who could get the Korean sentence from the English sentence because it's so long. Instead, I want you to try translating this sentence. I want you to try translating the sentence in English. Kind of curious seeing what different types of translations you can get. 오랜만이라 반갑기 그지없었어요. I'm not going to tell you any of the words yet. I want to see if anyone can translate it. Elvira asks, to be a patron, is it $1 a month? Yes, Patreon's memberships start from $1. So if you don't have very much money, I totally get it. I lived like literally paycheck to paycheck for quite a long time through college after getting married. Like, I get it. So it's $1 per month if you want to join, and you could join 1 month, download them all, and then join again later when you need them again. That's fine too. If you just won the Powerball, you have tons of money, or you're okay, you're financially really good. I love money. I love any support you can give. More is better, but $1 will get you access to everything you need from these live streams. So that'll be the outlines, which will come up as soon as the live stream's finished, and then worksheets. This one's already up on Patreon for every lesson I do. This is an additional 8 sentences that some of them are a bit long to go in the live streams. Sometimes they're a little bit complicated to go in the live streams, but either way, they're extra sentences that you can practice with in case you feel like, like, oh, I get it, I just want some more practice. That's what the worksheets are. They're always like several extra, sometimes even like, I think one of the worksheets even had like over 20. Yeah. Aniki says, I was so glad to see it again. Very close. Traga has it. Traga has the perfect translation for it. Yes, Kevin, you got it. Maria, Cookie, Lori, or Lore, I'm not sure. Rorez, yep. M. Ferrip, yep. Lexica, yep. Perfect. Riley says, are these forms in your Korean Made Simple books? No, this is an advanced form. The Korean Made Simple books go up to high intermediate. At some of the forms are, I would consider, and a couple of the forms are in the advanced territory, but the majority is beginner and intermediate. Okay. 오랜만이라 반갑기 그지없었어요. 오랜만, like 오랜만이요, like long time no see. 오랜만입니다. 오랜만이에요. So it has been a long time. So 이라 here is 이라서. So because it has been a long time, 이라서 is the same as 이라. 반갑다 is to be happy to see someone. It doesn't have to be happy to meet someone. Literally, when you say 반가워요 to someone, like nice to meet you, you're literally saying I am glad to see you. So you can use it when you see someone after not seeing them for a while. It's not just like happy to meet you, but it's like, glad to see you. 반갑기 그지없었어요. So there was no end to how glad I was to see them after not having seen them for a long time, since it had been so long. 오랜만이라 반갑기 그지없었어요. So I was so happy to see them because it's been such a long time. So you're saying I was so happy to see them. Like, oh, there was no end to how happy I was to see this person again because it had been a long time. But we're not done. You thought that would be the end. You thought, okay, I've got all these forms. Billy can throw anything at me now and I've got it. Oh, just wait. We have one form. This is our third and final form for today. You take a descriptive verb stem just like before and you attach ki. We've already done that now twice. Then you attach 이를, 대, optionally the subject marker 가, and then 없다, and then you conjugate it. So what is this form? Well, it's used in the exact same way as 그지없다. Meaning, you can use it to say something that's positive, or you can use it to say something that's negative. So you can think of this as pretty much the same as 그지없다. However, the literal meaning of this is different, of course. This form comes from the verb 이르다. 이르다 means to say or to tell something. 대. This means a place or a room, like an area, some place. And then 가 is just the subject marker. 없다. You're literally saying there is no room, as in there's no space, there's no place, to say something. So, it's indescribable. There's no room for words in this matter. There's no words. There's nothing to say about how verb it is what you're saying, literally. Again, indescribable is the feeling you get. But the usage, again, is the exact same as 그지없다. Instead of saying, there's no end to how much it is. And instead of like 짝이없다, you're not saying, there's no match for how much it is. You know, it couldn't be more like that. Here, you're just saying it's indescribable how much. But it's used in the same way, to emphasize how much something is. So you can think of it as just meaning so. I'm going to do... Let's do one sentence for this. Isn't this easy? You probably came to this advanced lesson thinking, oh, this is going to be so hard. I want you to use this. I want you to make this sentence. I feel so frustrated. Now, this is not 답답하다 like you're stressed, you're frustrated, you're hitting your chest. You're like, oh my goodness, I can't take this. This is 황당하다, which is kind of similar in meaning, but 황당하다 is like you don't even know what to do. You're like frustrated. You're like, I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. It has a different feeling of frustration. But I want you to make this sentence. I feel, so this is like feel frustrated. I just feel so like frustrated. I don't know what to do. I feel really frustrated. 황당하다 is the word you're going to use. And I want you to make this sentence. It's just indescribable how frustrated I am right now. Like I feel so frustrated. Again, you don't really need to think of it as meaning indescribably. You can just think of it as meaning so much, like the others. Tragus says, could we replace the last example sentence with 얼마나 던지? Yeah, those also do emphasize just different nuance, because the other ones are more like how, well, I guess I explained it in the last week. So it was like 2 weeks ago. How something it is what you would, is kind of the nuance you have. These are just different nuances, but they have the same meaning. And you could also replace it with just 정말. You could also replace it with just 너무. I mean, literally, you can replace any form with any other form, and the only thing's going to change is just the nuance. What nuance do you want to convey? The 얼마나, though, is more common, but this form doesn't sound awkward or anything. Okay, let's see. Trega, perfect. Aniki, perfect. Hopegate, perfect. Lexica, perfect. Now let's check everyone else's. Kooky, nice. Riley C, nice. Maria, nice. Uki Bear, nice. Everyone got it. I guess it's just easy now. This advanced lesson is too easy for all of you. What do we do now when the advanced lesson is too easy? Do we have to go on to a super advanced lesson? Oh man, that just reminded me. I don't know if I've said this before. Maybe I said this for a few years ago. Did anyone used to watch the cartoon show Doug? Not the newer one that they made like 2 decades ago or whatever, but like the original Doug in like the 90s. I think it was like mid 90s-ish, Doug on Nickelodeon. There was an episode of Doug where Doug's trying to show off to Patty about like how well he can horse ride. Does anyone remember this episode? So they're like, Doug puts on this whole persona of being like this master, like Western or like horse rider, because he wants to look cool to his crush. And they go to this horse farm to practice actually riding a horse after Doug is like put on this whole persona that he's this cool guy. And everyone like marks off on their sheet for like their skill level on like riding horses. And his friend Skeeter's like, hey Doug, so what did you put on your form? Did you put expert? Because everyone assumes he's master at riding horses. So they're like, did you put expert? Super expert? And Doug's just quiet. He looks over at him. He says, other. And everyone's like shocked. It kind of makes me think about that. Maybe we need to do an other level Korean lesson for the next time, because everyone is too good at this advanced stuff. It's too easy now. Yes. Okay. So how do we make this sentence? Well, it's really easy. I'm not even going to erase my example. I'll just do this. 황당하기 이를 때가 없네요. 황당하다. To feel frustrated. So, 이를 때가 없네요. So, it's indescribable how frustrated I feel, literally. There's no place for words for how frustrated I am. But more naturally, just I feel so frustrated. 황당하기 이를 때가 없어요. 황당하기 이를 때가 없네요. Any way you want to say it. So, I feel so frustrated. That's it. So that's our lesson for today. Let me pose for a thumbnail really quick. Okay, I got my thumbnail. Let's see. Oh, hey, I got a new member. Oh, no, Strong Arms member. You've been a member for 54 months? That's incredible. Dude, that's awesome. I knew you've been a member for a long time. I didn't realize it's been 4 years. I was thinking like, oh, at least a couple years. Billy, been a member for over 4 years, but I'm afraid I've got to cut back on spending. Totally fine. Thank you for everything. Flo Purdy, thank you. So now that our lesson's over, now that the lesson part is over, I will take questions. I also want to talk a little bit about what's going on. I'm going to be traveling to Korea next month, so we can talk about that a little bit as well. Flo says, have a great tip, and I'll take the dabs I turned down last week. How many dabs were those? How many dabs do I owe you? What's the tab? I'll do 5 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Raymond asks, or it says, it seems like this would be used a lot in 혼잣말. You know, I couldn't tell you that. It's not a 혼잣말 exclusive word. It's something you would say to other people. I mean, you could say anything potentially to yourself that you could say to someone else, but no, it's not exceptionally common to use this for speech to yourself. This would be used to other people. It seems like it's very emphatic that you wouldn't need to use it to yourself. Like, when you're talking to yourself, would you say, oh man, there's just no match for how extremely boring that movie was? Like, you don't really need to say it. You just say, man, that movie was terrible. But it's up to you, however you want to speak. Flo says 5 more. Okay, we got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had those in my my balance due. I didn't want the interest to start accumulating. Got to pay it off right when it comes up. Traga says, what's the meaning of 조 in this sentence? 어디 놀러 가고 싶죠? Yeah, it is. It is. Right? Like, hey, I want to go hang out, okay? You can think of it as, huh? A? Yeah? Right? Like that sort of, don't you? It's just a quick feeling that you request confirmation from the listener. You don't necessarily have to translate it as right. You can just say, man, you want to go hang out somewhere, huh? Like that, or you want to go out somewhere? Like you're really prompting for their answer back. That's all that the chi or cho ending means. But since we don't do anything like that in English without making words, you can think of it as like, huh? Or a? You know, want to go hang out somewhere, eh? Like that. Rores says, if my goal is to be conversational in Korean, where should I put more focus on? 문법, so grammar, or vocabulary? 어휘. You're going to need both for high level of speaking, for basic conversation with people, like basic, asking for directions, ordering things. The thing you should focus on most actually is going to be simple construction, like commonly used phrases, commonly used grammar, like something 주세요, something 어디예요, like that sort of stuff. So it's going to be grammar in the beginning. When you are an intermediate speaker, you can already speak, it's going to become vocabulary. You're still going to need some grammar because there's going to be more you need to learn, but the bulk is going to be vocabulary once you get already into the basic conversational level. Yeah, that's what I would say. Traga says, what's the nuance between 물론 and 당연히? 당연히 those are completely different nuances. 물론 is just, of course, it is assumed that, of course you know that. It's just more of a general meaning, like you assume everyone already knows it. So 당연히 is like, duh, like, don't you know that? And it has more of a feeling of like you're saying it's so obvious. Not you're saying of course, but you're saying that thing itself is so obvious and clear, like everyone knows that sort of thing. So 당연히 has more of a slightly, if you have to compare them, it has a much more conversational feel to it. 물론 doesn't. It just has a standard, straightforward. I mean, you can use 물론 with formal speech, you can use it with casual speech, but 당연히 you would not use it with more formal speech unless you're trying to say, unless what you're saying is obviously, clearly something. Yeah, Uki Bear. Nice seeing you. You're going to sleep? Yeah, it's probably very late there for you, Uki. I don't know what time you normally hibernate. Hopegate says, when is double past used? So that's a quick question I can answer. So normally you make the past tense, you could get 하다 to do, you can get past tense 했어요, or 가다 to go, you'd get 갔어요. You can also get the double past, which is where you just you go to there and then you attach the past tense onto that. Sorry, actually here. So 했었, and then you do it one more time, 했었어요. Double past tense. So that's had done. You can use it whenever you want to say someone had done, like from this past reference point, it is still something in the past. And that's what we do in English too. Most of the time though, you don't need to speak like that in the first place. But if you do in Korean, this is most often used to say someone used to do something. So the most common way in Korean to say you used to do something is to say you had done it. As in the past, like let's take a moment in the past. At that point, I already was doing it in the past. So you're saying no longer. I no longer do it, but I used to is double past. So like if you wanted to say I lived in Korea, you can say 한국에 살았어요. That just means I lived in Korea. But if you want to express that, no, it's more in the past. In English, what we would do is we say I used to live in Korea, implying that I no longer do. In Korean, you would say 한국에 살았었어요. So not just 살았어요, which is correct. I did live in Korea, but you're emphasizing you're emphasizing that it doesn't happen anymore. It's gone. Like it's even in the past, it was in the past. So you would use double past. So that's the most common usage for the double past in Korean. Aniki says, in your lessons about taga, you mentioned the past variation is used exclusively with motion verbs. There are more than one form that uses that. In fact, Aniki, if you check out my new series, the Korean conversation course that I'm just uploading, I don't know what episode, but I do mention the other forms in there, as well as I think in both of the reading books I have. I don't have a separate live stream about them, I think. Maybe I do mention it in the live stream as well. But yeah, there are like 3 or 4 uses for taga, depending on how the tense is being used. So you might want to check that out. I think I did do a live stream about it, maybe not in detail, but I should have a live stream where I mention it. I'll post the Google Doc in the chat, which has all of my live streams. So you can search for ta and then parentheses ka. And you should find one of the lessons that I have where I taught it. But yeah, there's more than just that usage. Riley C says, this is my first live stream. Welcome. And let's see. I have, Zandria says, wondering what Koreans judge American tourists for, or what behavior I should modify. I just don't want to cause eye rolls as they whisper Americans. There is one thing that you can do as a foreigner to not get a lot of attention from Koreans. I should say to not get negative attention from Koreans. And that is to shut up. I mean that in a nice way. Foreigners have a negative stereotype in Korea, and we have a few actually. I won't talk about all of them, but there are some negative stereotypes. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be like, I don't like them because they're foreigner. It's not so much of a race thing. It's more of just they don't know our culture sort of stereotype. And one of those is loud, especially in places where you're supposed to be quiet. If you're going to a bar in Korea, like you're going to a club with your friends, no one cares. Everyone's loud. If you go to a really popular place where lots of people are hanging out and buying snacks, they have trendy street food, or you're going to a big park and everyone's gathered there and having picnics, no, be loud, because who cares? You're out in a place where you're supposed to be talking. If you're in a place where other people have no choice but to be next to you, transportation, restaurants that are not bars, any sort of situation where the person next to you does not have a choice to be there. Like, they can't just leave because they're waiting for their food. They can't just leave because they need to catch their bus or their subway or their train. These places you want to be quiet. If you're in a group, especially if you're in a group, I don't ever see foreigners being loud when they're by themselves because there's no one to talk with. Like, they're respectable. But as soon as you get 2 people together, oh man, did you see that person over there? Oh, they had really cool clothes. Wow, I was like trying to find that snack and I saw, oh, they've got that snack. I want to try that. Like, talking in a normal voice. You want to whisper. This is not to say that Koreans are quiet and super respectful in this situation, that Koreans will never talk on a subway. They're always super. No. Koreans do this too, but it's considered rude behavior. So if someone's on the subway and they're sitting down, they're on their phone, they're like, they're talking really loud. You might think that, oh, I guess I can talk on the phone. No, the other Koreans around are all thinking the same thing. Oh, that person's rude. So don't do that. When you go in any sort of public place where there are people next to you that they can't really do, it's not because they want to be there, like a bar, they can just move around. But yeah, transportation or restaurants, be quiet. Like, if you want to talk, go ahead, but whisper. Keep your speech low enough so that it doesn't bother anyone else. So if you're like sitting next to someone on the train, oh yeah. Like, that's fine. You're on a bus, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. But don't be, after this, we're going to go here and then let's go check out this place. That's one of the really big things that is a stereotype, is that we're really noisy. And I was certainly too, when I was in Korea. I didn't know this. I actually got told to shut up once by a bus driver directly, looked at me and told me to shut up in Korean. Like, actually said, shut up in a mean way. But most people won't say anything. They don't want to sound rude. They don't want to be the person that tells, a foreigner to not talk. But I will say this, if someone tells you to be quiet because you're really loud, you might think that they're being rude, but everyone else who didn't say anything is probably thinking in their heads, thank you. I didn't want to say that. So just know that there's like a stereotype of that we're loud. It just be respectful, because a lot of times people in the subway and the restaurants, they're just like tired. Like at a restaurant, they're on their work break. They just want to relax for a second. They don't want to hear loud noises for a bit. On the subway, they're going to work, or they're coming home from work, and they're just exhausted. They just want to chat on their phone or listen to something. And it's just being respectful of that kind of quiet time that people expect. Let's see. Isabella says, Koreans are not so easy to make friendships, but if you try speaking Korean, they'll be nice to you as well. I'm not quite sure what you mean, but I think it's not so hard to make friends with Koreans. The problem is that it's hard to find a Korean who's going to have a lot of free time to hang out with you, because most Koreans, after they've graduated college, especially after they're done with college, they start going into the workforce, and Korean work schedules are crazy. Monday through Friday, early morning to late at night. And then on the weekends, what do? They don't go hang out with their friends. They have to do their laundry. They have to do all the chores they couldn't do for the weekdays. They might have to go visit their family. Their parents say, hey, come over for the weekend. There isn't a lot of free time, so they won't have a lot of time to hang out with you. So if you have a Korean friend and they work, but they still meet you, take good care of them. That is a good friend. If they don't work, they have no job, they just hang out, they just go to the PC room all day and play computer games. That's different. They're probably just lazy and bored, or maybe they just don't want to work, or they have lots of money, they don't have to work. But if someone has a job, but they take their time and meet you on a weekday or meet you on a weekend, don't take that time for granted. It's really important. They're giving you their time that they would have used on themselves. They're very little free time. So that can make it a little difficult to make friends with Korean. It's just the times that they have available to meet. Oh, hey, Kai. Thanks, Kai. Sorry, this isn't an advanced question. That's fine. The advanced lesson's over. Now we're just kind of hanging out, asking questions. Oh, I also got to talk about my Korea trip. So again, next Sunday, I'll do a live stream. And then after that, there are no more classes until the end of July. So just keep that in mind. Kai says, I'm working through your beginner course and was wondering if I should also get Korean Made Simple Book 1, or will it be the exact same as the videos? So your second question I can answer first. It's not the same at all as the videos. The grammar topics in the course are taught in the books, but the order that they're taught in is very different, because the audience I had in mind for the course is different than the audience I had in mind for my books. When you're using the books, I assume that the person is sitting down at a desk, that they have time that they've taken away to study Korean, that they want everything kind of presented systematically, like they want to learn what things in order that they need to learn. And the books assume you have a lot more time, so they go into a lot of detail. I might teach a form and then give notes on it. The video course, though, I figured is going to be bite-sized pieces of Korean that are organized so that someone could go into it, watch 1 or 2 or 3 videos, and then stop, go back whenever they want, kind of like that. So I structured it differently. The order is different. Either one, I don't care which one you pick. You're going to learn basic Korean conversation with either one. The books, though, do contain more. So what a lot of people do is they start with the video course and they realize, oh, I actually don't like videos in the first place. I actually would prefer a textbook. Get the textbook. Or they use a textbook and they say, you know what? It's hard for me to focus on a book. I kind of want a video course. Use the video course. Either one's fine. But I made the video course because I wanted an option that was free for people to learn Korean, because I thought it would be cool if there was a way that anyone could just go online and learn Korean from nothing into a basic conversational level without having to pay a cent. So that was the reason for me starting that course in the first place. The books, though, have to cost money because I spent a lot of money on those to make them. Actually, the video course, I did spend a lot of money too, but that's different. I don't have to print the video course. I did have to print the books. Okay. Riley says, is there a book I should get when I'm starting to learn advanced Korean? else do I got here? Any other? Hold on. I'm grabbing some books. Give me a sec. Hanta. Okay. There is you want to get a Hanta book of some sorts, but I'm not going to pull out mine because mine are no longer in print, so I can't recommend them. If you want to know really detailed grammar, this is my favorite grammar reference book now. I actually think I got recommended it by Talk to Me in Korean, who has one of these, and also another fellow teacher I knew had one of these, so I got this as well. I love it. It doesn't have everything. It's only available in Korea. It's called 한국어 문법 사전, so literally Korean grammar dictionary. It does not have everything. It's not the best explanations on everything. It's very hard to read if you're not already advanced. So I would not recommend this to someone who wants a grammar reference, who's intermediate in learning conversation. You're already like a nerd about grammar. You already know all the basics. This is like a reference guide. I like that. Let's see what else we got. Oops. I shouldn't throw my books around. That's fine. Just the cover came off. Okay, let me just put this back. The next one I would recommend is actually a series of books. 살아있는 한국어 is a really cool series. They have several books. They also have one on Hangul, but you don't need that one. It's really basic. They have one on Hanja 성어. So these are Chinese idioms from Hanja. Again, these are for advanced learners. They have one on 속담 for idioms, and they have one on 관용어. So these are expressions, like common Korean expressions. I did these books 3 years ago. They're great. I've used maybe about half of the expressions in here at least once in real conversations. And then the next book I'd recommend is actually an old book. It's called Handbook of Korean Vocabulary. This one I would also only recommend if you're advanced. I've had this book since I was a beginner. I got this one when I was a beginner. It is useless to a beginner. It's cool, but useless. If you're advanced level though, it's really cool. Like for example, let me see if I can find an example. It'll have words that use various root words, and these root words could be Hanja root words or pure Korean. For example, actually I don't want to use that one. Okay, 반 is a Hanja root word that means half. So it'll give you 절반, 반반, 반갑, 반액, 반달, 전반전, 후반전, 반도, 반소매, like all these words and what they mean that use that are really common. It'll have, let's see, let's find a pure Korean one. Most of these are going to be Hanja, but there are a lot of pure Korean as well. Let's see, pure Korean, come on, where's a pure Korean one I can use? So I'm really trying to find a pure Korean one. Most of them I'm finding are the Hanja ones, because it does have pure Korean as well. They're just not as much. Oh wait, I feel dumb. I was in the Hanja section. There we go. Okay, because I was like, I know it has lots. Okay, gong means the end. So that's a pure Korean root word. So it'll have gongji, gonguni for like a tail, gongcho for like a cigarette butt. And then it'll have, let's see, 꽃 for flower, 장미꽃, 호박꽃, 꽃잎, 꽃다발, 꽃향기, like all of these words. Okay, good. 꿈 for dream. You'll have 개꿈, like a meaningless dream. 단꿈, a sweet dream. 꿈나라, dreamland, like all that sort of stuff. It's really good for advanced learners if you want to like expand your vocabulary. I have a bunch of other books too, but I wouldn't recommend them to any advanced learner because they are like specific books. Like I have a verb dictionary, which just has verbs. I can't really recommend it because you should already know all the verbs. It's just a reference guide that's in paper, but you can get those in Naver anyway. So I actually don't really know why I got it, but I've used it a few times. Kai says, I'm going to get the PDF of book 1 and the workbook. Oh, nice. I got book 2 for my birthday for when I feel ready. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll take a few more questions. I'm going to be also going to Korea from the beginning of next month, from May. So I'm probably going to have another fan meetup sometime in Korea during the summertime. Let's just say it's going to be the end of May or early June. Yeah. End of May or early June. If you're in Korea around Seoul, or you can get to Seoul, I'm probably going to have another fan meetup just like last year, and we'll film a video there for those who want to participate. I'm not sure exactly what it'll be, but we'll do something. Yeah, I'll announce details though as that gets sooner. Let's see. Lauren Holton says, have you or would you do a video about all the books you've used? Oh gosh, that would be a big... I have a lot of books. I have some bad books and I have some cool books. I guess so. I don't have enough books to really do that though. Like I only have a couple dozen that I've used that I still have. Some of my early books I've trashed because they were just so bad. I did keep though my very first book just because it's, you know, a bit of nostalgia for me. My very first Korean book, I do have that. But a lot of the other early books that I would use, I just trashed them because they're just so terrible. Like after the first book. The first book though was especially terrible, so I kept it. Eve says, I couldn't connect earlier. Is it the end of the stream? Well, it's the end of the lesson. It's not the end of the stream. I'm now taking questions for 10 more minutes. We can talk. Feel free to ask any questions you have about Korean or about Korea. What No says you should consider getting a Wi-Fi repeater. So that's kind of what I have is my Wi-Fi mesh system, my mesh router they're basically like Wi-Fi repeaters. But I think one of the three that I have, it's like a system I got together when I first moved into this place. And I think one of them is dying. I think that's the problem, is one of them's dying, because the others seem to work okay. The speed is not terrible in the rest of my house, but just in this room, this specific repeater, the Wi-Fi thing, sometimes will go offline randomly. Like once every year, it'll just die. And then also, yeah, lately it's been really slow for the past couple weeks. Tragus says, I'll be in Korea until June 2nd, so I hope the fan meeting is before that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know when it'll be. And I'm sure there are going to be 100 people who message me, please do it at the end of July, so I'm going to be in Korea. And other people always message me, please do it in October. I'm in Korea in October. I'm like, I am only in Korea from May, June, and July. So it'll be sometime when I'm in Korea. I'm guessing the end of May before it gets too hot, but we'll see. Gabrielle says, why are there two different words for egg? There are two different words for most words in Korean, because there will be a word that's from Hanja, from Chinese originally. For example, keran. Ke literally means chicken. Ran is an egg. So keran means chicken egg. But then you also have the word 달걀, which actually comes from 닭, meaning chicken, and 알 meaning egg. So the literal meaning of 계란 and 달걀 are exactly the same, but 달걀 is from pure Korean. So there are going to be two different words for everything. Rores says, can you do fan meeting on Sunday? Because that's my only day off. I think I typically do them on Saturdays, but I don't know. It depends. Whatever day I did it last year, it'll probably be the same day of the week. I think they're Saturdays. Maybe they're Sundays. I don't know, but it's too early to make that schedule. So if it works, it works, but I'm not going to be able to match everyone's schedule. Usually there will be like a few hundred people who want to come, and then I'll say it's only this day at this time. And then, you know, we'll only get maybe like 50 people left who can actually attend on that day. That's just how it is. Zandria says, have you considered doing a live stream of just food-related topics and what to expect in Korea when finding something to eat? There's vlogs and stuff, but they're too polite and not very detailed. Food-related topics. What sort of food-related topics would you want to talk about? Do you want more milk rants? I really like food, so I'm planning on doing a few more food-related videos when I'm in Korea this time. But I'm not sure. Let's see. What to expect when finding something to eat? I would want to do a video on vegan food and vegetarian food in Korea. I think that would be interesting to do. I'm neither, but I feel like that would be something that you have to be like really diligent to find places that are good and that serve that kind of food. Just because having been to Korea so many times, I never run into restaurants that have that. So there are restaurants that will have like salad, but besides like salad, it's hard to find places that would have food specifically for vegetarians or even more for vegans. So I'm just curious, like, what do they eat in Korea? I know that they have restaurants that they recommend to each other, but I'm wondering how difficult of a lifestyle is that? So it would be kind of cool if I could connect with someone to do a video about that. I just know that Korean food is not friendly, like actual Korean food is not friendly toward vegetarians or vegans. And you could say there is some, like bibimbap can be made for vegetarians, like, you know, of someone who's a monk like that, like a sunim in Korea, a monk. But most Korean food is not. And it'll be something like the food looks like it's completely vegan, but then the ingredients actually use fish sauce, which is really common in a lot of ingredients. Like kimchi is not vegan friendly either. Lauren says, Lauren, you say, my friend left her study abroad early because she was practically vegan and she couldn't stand it. Yeah, I happen to know of, like personally, I know a couple people who are vegan in Korea, but I never tried connecting with them for doing a video about that. But I feel like there are going to be a lot of restaurants you can get vegan food because I've seen people share lists with each other sometimes about restaurants that they go to that have food like that. But I still want to know more about the lifestyle because you can't say, hey, let's go hang out. And then, oh, by the way, you have to come up to my neighborhood. I'll meet you at this bus stop. We have to go to this restaurant and we have to pay this much to get this item. Otherwise, I'm not going to eat. Like that sort of thing. It might be real. How inconvenient is it to be vegan in Korea? It's a video I'd want to do. I'm sure someone else has probably already done it, or someone else is watching me right now and thinking, oh, I'm going to do that. And they make their own video already. I've had this video on my radar for, gosh, 2018. So yeah, over 5-6 years, I've been wanting to do this video. I just haven't figured out how to do it. Arya Kim said, I can't understand vegans. Plants are living creatures. Okay, you're joking. Plants aren't gonna, okay, that's a whole nother topic. Won't go into that. I'm not, but I do respect people who, you know, whatever they want to eat. Why does it bother me? I don't care what they want to eat. Lauren says, it must be difficult since socializing is built around food in Korea. That is why I'm interested in the topic. Because when you meet a Korean, there is an aspect of the culture that is very heavily centered around food. Community meals, eating with other people is a very big part of culture. And there's another aspect of that. You are a foreigner in Korea. When people invite you to go out to eat, they want to treat you. They want to buy you Korean food. They don't want to say, hey, where do you want to go out to eat? What do you like? We'll pick something you like. They want you to try their favorite food. So that's a different aspect of a culture that we don't really have strong in America. Usually in the US, it's like, hey, I'll take you out to eat. Where do you want to go? Or how about this food? You know, do you like Chinese food? Do you like, you know, that sort of thing? It's not like that in Korea. It would be, hey, meet me here and we're going to go eat. I'll treat you. The end. You can't say, oh, I'm vegan. I don't eat that food. They're going to be like, oh, okay. And they're going to try to find another restaurant and they can't. And they're just going to give up. So I'm wondering, how do they navigate that sort of the aspect of the culture? Is it a big deal? Am I making a big deal about it? But it's actually not that hard. So that's what I'm curious about. Lobna says, if we just want to talk and understand others, do we have to learn the alphabet and grammar? Are you going to live in Korea and cover your eye? Like if you're blind, I guess I should ask this question another way. Is it possible for a blind person to learn to speak and understand Korean? What do you think? It's pretty obvious as soon as you think of it like that. Of course, you don't have to read and write Korean. But do blind people read Braille? Yes. So you can either learn Hangul or you can learn Braille. Why would you not understand the words that are on the sign? Like, let's say you didn't know how to read and write and you visit Korea. You get off the plane. Okay, it's all in English, so you're good. You leave the plane, you go outside of Seoul, you go to a restaurant, anywhere you want to go to a restaurant, the menu's in Korean. Oh, I can't read it. I'll just talk with them. Hey, can you tell me everything that's on the menu? Do you want to live that way? Like if you can't see, if you're blind, you might ask if it's a restaurant you know, hey, do you have a menu for blind people? They might have it, or they might have an option for that. You got to read and write. It's the basic piece of Korean. You're not going to have a good time if you don't know at least the alphabet. How are you going to practice speaking? How are you going to practice learning Korean if you can't read someone's messages they're sending to you? How are you going to watch Korean drama when they say, I want to order this item, and they point to the menu and it's written in Korean? Are you going to like ignore the scene where they're reading Korean because you're only focusing on reading and writing? It's just a waste of time. Like you're specifically hurting your progress by avoiding something so simple that you could learn in an afternoon. Hey, Raymond. Thank you, Raymond. Came for the grammar lesson, stayed for the milk rant and grammar lesson. By the way, I thought Seoul Milk was just the coffee milk. They do have coffee milk, but Seoul Milk is also a brand. Seoul Uyu. They also have Busan Uyu. When I was in Busan, I had Busan Uyu most of the time, which is superior to Seoul Milk if you have to compare. Busan Milk's better. 10 dabs for your $10 donation. But yeah, they do have many different flavors of milk as well. Zandria says, fries? What do you mean fries to get? You're talking about, oh, did I not give you dabs, Kai? There you go. I guess French fries would be vegan, right? Yeah, because they're just potatoes and oil. Not the most healthy food. You know, usually you think vegetarian or vegan, you might think like, oh, they're very health conscious. But then you just see somebody, cramming French fries down their mouth, like a big giant pile of those. This is all I can eat. Like while they're crying, they didn't have anything else. You have like, what is it? You can't even have a shake. You could have a soda. Yeah, so you have this like large soda and like three orders of large fries. You're like, I'm a vegan, bro. Eating. I'm sure that's not what they do. That would be not a healthy lifestyle. No, there are restaurants. There are things you can do. It's just, I think it might be a bit difficult. So I'd want to talk with someone about that. Maddie Beatty says, hello. Fisho asks, nice name, Fisho. Would you ever study another language in your free time? I used to learn Japanese and Mandarin and Cantonese and French. And I almost got into Russian. In fact, Russian was the original language I was going to go for before I decided to do Japanese. But I decided Japanese because they didn't have any Russian materials at the library. And they had one like cassette tape. That was it that they had. So I didn't use that. And then I also once tried doing Thai, but I didn't get very far. I got to the alphabet and then I stopped. I was interested in a lot of other languages. Just these days, I gave all of the other languages up for Korean. Kai says, as someone who travels to Korea consistently, what does the average cost look like to visit? Mine is a different case because I will travel together with my wife and kid. So we'll all stay in the same place when we're there. If you're a solo traveler to Korea, you don't need such a place that has two separate rooms. But when I'm going there by myself, I can give you a comparable amount for that. So first of all, you're looking at, so going to Korea, the biggest thing is, the biggest expense is going to be your flight and then your room. In this order. Flights right now to Korea will depend on your country and what airline you do. But I recommend using Google Flights to find the cheapest flight because they'll tell you all of the different current flights that are out there. This is, again, to Korea. Flights within Korea, you will not use Google. There are way better, cheaper flights that you can get than the ones you see on Google. but to Korea from another country. Right now from LAX in the summertime, one ticket round trip to Korea from LA to Korea is around $2,000. I think that's what I paid for my ticket, as well as my wife's ticket and my kid's ticket. So you're looking at somewhere between 1 and 2,000, maybe more. This is the cheap one. If you fly Korean Air these days, they're even more. Korean Air is just, flight tickets are just ridiculous now. If you fly during the summertime, they're the most expensive. If you fly during the fall, they're cheaper. So if you want a cheaper time to go to Korea, consider going like October. That October, November are much cheaper than trying to go in May, June, July when I'm going. So that's an option as well. And then your room. I use Airbnb. That's probably going to be your best bet. Don't stay in a hotel unless you have money flying out of your pockets. You just walk down the street and money is just flying everywhere. Hotels are the biggest waste of money in Korea unless you need that hotel experience. If you're someone who's maybe you're retired, you just can't deal with smaller bathrooms, you can't deal with having to walk upstairs, anything. You want room service. You want the room to be cleaned every single day. Then get a hotel. But you're going to be paying like 10 times the price what you can get at an Airbnb for the same thing. So I use Airbnb and I will find rooms. There's a whole other discussion about what you want in a room. You can get by on much less than you might think but there are some amenities that you have to have in your room. Maybe I can talk about these later if you want. But anyway, so I'll get my room. That will be for a month that I'm staying there by myself. About the cheapest I've ever done it was $400, but it depends where you stay in Seoul. Typically, you're going to be thinking around $800 to $1,000 for a discount place for 1 month, somewhere in a good location of Seoul where you can get everywhere you need to. But if you look at if you know what to look for and you're okay with a smaller room, like you're only planning on going there, sleeping, showering, and leaving, you can find places that are under $500 for a month. Yeah, they're pretty ridiculous how cheap. And they're still nice. They're not like trash dumps or anything. Then on top of that, you're going to be doing transportation. So this will be like subways, buses. You just want to get a transportation card. You don't want to deal with anything else. Oh, don't get the new transportation card that they came out with. I'm sure you've seen on Instagram or maybe YouTube Shorts, people talking about the new transportation card that they released in Seoul. It works everywhere. It does not work everywhere. It is very specific, the locations and the lines that it works for. And if you're a Korean who already lives within those areas and only travels to those areas, you'll save about half of what you'd normally spend, maybe even a little more. If you're a tourist visiting Korea and you get that card, you're wasting your money because it will not work for everything and you will not know where it does and doesn't work. And you're not going to want to deal with looking up how to find out where it does and doesn't work before you're traveling. Don't get it. Just buy a regular transportation card. You load money on it. I think it has a few thousand won deposit that you pay, and you can get that back when you give back the card, or just keep it. But you load it up, you use that on the bus, use it on the subway. You don't have to deal with paper tickets, and you get a slight discount every single time you scan it. You can also use it at many convenience stores. You can use it at vending machines to buy things. Get a transportation card. You're going to spend, depending on how much you're traveling, this could vary wildly. If you're just doing a few trips on the subway a day, you could get by under $10 a day. If you're planning on like taking trains all across Korea, you could easily spend $50 a day or more. So this depends on where you're traveling, but I would say budget at least $10 to $20 a day for regular traveling. And then food, same thing. You could get by on $10 a day in Korea easily. Just go to cheap restaurants, load up on like kimbap or like cheap food, go to the convenience store, get some bread, go to one of the temples on Buddha's birthday. You get free food there. There's some tricks you can do to kind of stretch your money. But food could be anywhere from, I'll say $20 to $50 a day. But it's not like in the US. You don't need to pay. There's no tipping and there's no tax on top of the price. So if the restaurant says it's 8,000 won for your dish, it's 8,000 won, the end. You can pay exactly with card or cash, doesn't matter. But if you're going to be eating Korean food, it's going to be much cheaper. All Korean food is relatively cheap. All foreign food is relatively expensive. So if you go to Korea and you decide you're going to have pizza, hamburgers, what else is American food? Hot dogs, pasta for Italian style. You know, it's not really Italian style, but okay. You want to go to get like real Chinese food, not the Koreanized, not jjajangmyeon, not Korean Chinese food, but actual Chinese food. So you want to go to a Japanese restaurant, you want to get Indian food. You're looking at easily $50 to $100 a day. If you're getting like 2 meals a day going out, think $50 or more per day or more. One pizza can cost you $20 to $30 if you get like an actual decent pizza in Korea. So stick to Korean food. You can save a lot of money. After that, the other expense I can think of would just be regular shopping. Like you go to a tourist spot and you want to try a street food vendor. There's 2,000, 3,000. Now you want to get a drink, another 2,000, 3,000, maybe 5,000 won for that. You sit with your friend at a cafe, you get a coffee. Okay, 5,000 won, 6,000 won, depending where you go. Some fancy place could be like 7,000 or 8,000 for like a cup of coffee or something. Or maybe you get a fancy drink like a smoothie. And then beyond that, there are going to be a lot of small expenses that you're not going to be thinking of. Like, oh, you visit a museum. Well, now you paid 20,000. You know, you wanted to go to a concert. You paid who knows how much. You want to do this experience. You have to consider exactly what you're going to do on your trip. But just to get there and exist, this is what you're looking at. So if you want a reference point, last year I went to Korea by myself for over 3 weeks. So I had Airbnb in that, and it was a nice location, decent place, had air conditioning, heating, a little laundry machine inside, plenty of space for my bags, a desk, Wi-Fi, everything. And I paid total, including the flight, Airbnb, not this stuff, but just to get to Korea and stay there was well under $2,000 for the whole thing. On top of that, I probably spent another $200-300 on transportation, another $300-400 on food. And that was it. So my trip for everything was about was under $3,000 for the entire experience. Everything I bought, all my shopping, that's what you can kind of think about. But I'm pretty frugal with going to Korea. Trega says on Reddit, a lot of travelers recommend hotels rather than Airbnb. That's because a lot of travelers are looking for hotels. They don't want to deal with Airbnb, which is uncertain, because you get a hotel, you know your room's getting cleaned every day. Airbnbs don't clean your room until you move out. They might do your laundry. I mean, not your laundry. They'll wash your towels when you put your towels in the box, but you have to follow instructions for how to bring your towels and where to put them in the box. You'll have to sort your own recycling. So unless you're familiar with Korea a little bit, an Airbnb can be difficult, but you're looking at between $800 for a month for Airbnb, or maybe less, depending on where you're staying, or more if you're staying in like a really nice place, or $100 to $200 per day if you're staying at a hotel, and even much higher if you're staying at a nice hotel. Like if you want to stay at like the Silla Hotel, which is like upscale 5-star hotel in Korea where like celebrities go and they have like jazz performances in the lobby in evenings and stuff like that. I've been there before. My brother-in-law has taken me to places like that before. He likes that kind of thing. They're very nice. The rooms are like beautiful. You get like a hot tub in your room. You get like a giant walk-in shower and everything. You get amenities delivered to your room. You can have service and everything, like room service. It's wonderful. But I think it was like $400 or $500 for one night there. And if you want a cheaper hotel, you're still looking at somewhere around $100 a night. If you need that though, you need the convenience of it, and you're planning on spending a bunch of time in your room, like, you just kind of want to relax. You're not going to Korea to be outside. You're just going to Korea to kind of be there and meet some people. Yeah, you're not going to be there for more than a few days. Yeah, hotel's great. But if you're going for any longer than a few days, it's just not worth it. You would spend 30 days. What's 30 times 100? Yeah, that much. So yeah, $3,000-ish. You'd probably get a discount though from the hotel for staying that long, but it's not going to be anywhere close to this. For reference, this $400 I spent the one trip, the room was like $18 a night for that place. It was a panjiha, so like a kind of half basement. You can kind of consider it as like a basement that has a window at the top. And the negatives of that are they get a little bit smellier. Like you might smell some stuff from outside because it's so low. They're a little bit more humid than other rooms. And people don't like just that they're underneath the ground. It's like the place they stayed at in the movie Parasite. That sort of apartment, although it doesn't flood like that. Unless you have a bad one, then yeah, it could. But that sort of place. But it was dirt cheap. It was big enough for what I needed. It had a shower. I could sleep there. It was good. And I paid close to nothing after everything was said and done. Okay, Zandria has a question. Then I should probably go soon, but I'm having fun. How's everyone doing? If I order, say, a cheese pizza, do I have to ask them not to put corn on it? Is corn the default? Yeah, if you got a cheese pizza, it'll say on the menu what's in it. If it says cheese pizza, it's cheese pizza. If it's like their restaurant name, cheese pizza, you have to check to see, it'll say like 옥수수 and whatever. It's not a default. There is no such thing as like a default topping. But if you get another kind of pizza, like I said, they have their they'll have a vegetable pizza and it says different vegetables are on it. That might have corn in it as a filler. Corn is a really common filler that they add on top of pizza just because it takes up space. Koguma is another common filler. Like koguma cream is another, like they'll put this sort of like koguma, like sweet potato on top of the pizza, like on the crust area. That's another common thing. Parmesan cheese is another common filler you'll see, but no, it's not a default item. Fisho says, how fluent is KiCat in Korean? That's a good question. Depends on the series you're watching. And it depends on the episode. I have yet to decide. I haven't asked KiCat. There's something weird going on with KiCat, which I'll explain in a future course someday. John F says, I bought your first 3 books. Awesome. Do you have video playlists to go along with each? No, the books are separate. They do have the audio files though. So go to my website and download the audio files for the 3 books. And there are workbooks that can go along with them optionally. You don't need them, but if you wanted more practice, there are separate workbooks you can get. Videos are separate though. And it's not to say you can't use the videos with it. No, feel free to, if you are learning about a topic in the book, feel free to search. I'm sure I have a video lesson about that same topic that you can use for reference in case you don't quite get it. Lauren says, I love cheap hotels or Airbnbs. I only need the essentials because I'd rather be out all day. I just need a place to sleep and shower. I'm the same. I need a place to store my stuff that's clean. I need a place where I can do my laundry. And I need a shower with hot water. And I need a bed. And Wi-Fi. I need Wi-Fi. Besides that, I mean, and those are defaults. Every place has those with the exception of a built-in washing machine. Places will usually have a washing machine at the facilities that you can use, like outside of your room or something. But the place I'm staying this time is going to have one inside of the room. But normally they're like outside. That's it. Like, that's good enough. And I don't plan on staying indoors at all. If I'm indoors, I'm sleeping or I'm coming back to get changed. I'm not like hanging out indoors. There's nothing to do in like a small, 20 foot by 20, like 20 foot square foot or whatever place, like really tiny apartment. What am I going to do? It's like, I'll just go out. So most of the time, even when I have nothing to do, I'm at my apartment. Like I've just come home to get changed. I'm like, I'll just go out, just walk out. I'm like, okay, just going to walk around. Maybe I'll go to a store. Maybe I'll try to meet a friend or something. Eve LaFay says you need new companions, one for each level. You know what? That's actually a good idea. I like that idea. I don't know how KiCat would deal with me getting another companion though. She's pretty controlling. Raymond says, a bidet toilet is my #1 feature in a hotel. Yeah, if you stay in a hotel, there's a good chance you're going to have a bidet because that's kind of like a luxury item in Korea. And you'll see a lot of people's bathrooms have those. Usually the Airbnb, none of the Airbnbs I've stayed at have had that. But that would be a nice thing. I suppose you could buy your own from the internet. They're probably like 10, 15 bucks. Install it because they're really easy to install, right? You just unplug the toilet's water supply and plug it in and put it on the seat and you're done. And then take it off when you leave and, or put it in a cabinet or something and leave it or bring it back or something. You could do that. Kai says, random, but are the audio files read by you? No, none of the audio files. I never do my own audio files for Korean for a good reason. No matter how good my Korean is or will get, no matter how long I've been studying Korean, no matter how many times Korean people tell me, oh, your pronunciation sounds native. I'm not a native speaker. So a native speaker is always going to be the better option. I always hire native Korean speakers to do the audio files, including in my newest course, Korean conversation course. It's native Koreans, 100%. I would never have myself do that. The only exception where you'll hear me reading Korean sentences is when I'm doing these classes and I teach something. I don't have a native Korean right here to read the sentences for me. So I'll read my own sentences. Like we had 황당하기가 이럴 때가 없네요. Like I'll read the sentence. But other than that, no. Yaren Ver says, I'm surprised that the shower and toilet are in the same room, but I understand the practical use of it. Okay, there's a reason for that. Story time again. So let me draw you the floor plan for the place I'm going to be staying in Korea this time. So here's the door. Here's the entryway. You put your shoes here. There's a clothes cabinet here where I put my clothes. There's a desk here. There's my bed. I sleep like that. My computer's here. This is storage. I can put my bags here and suitcase and whatever. There is let's see, how does this work? There is a small little kitchen here. There's my laundry machine right here. Does this kind of make sense? And this area is the bathroom. So here's the door. You open the door, and what is there? There is a toilet here. There is a shower. Oh, here's the countertop where you can have a sink. They have some other stuff here. And then there is on the wall, there's the shower unit where you can take a shower. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. This is the floor plan, the actual floor plan of the place that I'm staying this time. So what's going on here? Why is the toilet in the place where you take a shower? And when you take a shower, does that mean the toilet gets wet? Yes. When you take a shower in Korea, in most apartments, except for newer apartments, which do have a bigger area, they will have a shower. They call it 샤워실. So like a shower room, basically just, what we have in the US, we've had here for decades, most places. That's a new thing in Korea. I want to say from the early 2000s. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but around the early 2000s, new apartments that started to be built all have like separate shower rooms. But before that, so any place in Korea, like the majority of places that you're going to stay at in Korea, unless you have tons of money, they're going to be these older units from like 1990s or 80s or 70s or 60s. Typically the 80s are the most common that I find for like that's when they did tons of construction. It was like 80s, 90s. So they don't have a separate place. Why? Well, there's a reason. Originally, there are actually a few reasons. The traditional way of taking a shower in Korea is similar to the traditional way of taking a shower in Japan and other Asian countries. What that is, if you haven't seen that before, is when you take a shower in the US, we stand up and shower, right? We put the shower on, we turn on the hot water, we just sit there, for like 10 minutes, and then we remember, oh, I'm supposed to be taking a shower. Oh, shoot. Grab some soap, lather up, wash yourself off. You like sing in the shower, everyone hates you. That's an American thing, or at least a Western thing. That's not a Korean thing, thank God. The Korean thing is, you turn on the shower, you wash your hair off, you wash under your arms, you wash your feet, wash everything that's dirty, put soap on it. You turn off the water because the water is expensive. And hot water is more expensive. They might not even have a hot water heater. That's really fancy. Can't have a hot water heater, or maybe you have a hot water heater, but it doesn't last very long. So you turn it on just for what you need, and then you wash yourself off, and then that's it. You're done. You didn't really shower. You basically did what's known as sesu. Sesu is the word for to wash up in Korean. 세수하다. Literally, 세 is wash, 수 is hands. So 세수하다 means it's a nice way of saying to wash your hands, but it means kind of wash up. So like wash your face, wash your hands, kind of wash yourself up real quick is 세수하다. But this is not a full shower. Like we know with hot water and singing Sinatra, and wasting 30 minutes using, your hot water heater is totally fine, but you've been in the shower. It's like boiling water for like a half hour or so. That's not a Korean thing, but there's another reason. So this sort of showering like that wasn't really a thing in Korea. The bigger reason though is for older units. Let's go back 2 decades. And actually, no, it's more 2 decades. Let's go back 3 decades ago to the late 90s. So let me just do it this way. This is what that room would have looked like 3 decades ago. There's a sink, just like before. There's a toilet, just like before. But where's the shower? They might have had a shower attachment on the sink if they were using it for like washing things down. But this was just a bathroom. I mean, just for using the bathroom. This wasn't even a shower room. Why? Because Korean culture at that time, until the until the late 90s, I'll say more accurately, was a communal bath culture. So you can ask any Korean who's older than 30, ask them what is these. 찜질방 is a public bathhouse, or 목욕탕 is like a bathhouse as well. They still have these in Korea, but they're much less common than they used to be. They used to be like on every corner. My wife growing up, I'm not sure how much she wants me to share. My wife growing up used to have a part-time job working as a cleaner in one of these bathhouses. Like you'd get a job, like a part-time job. You'd be one of the people who scrubs the floor and cleans up after the area, because when you want to take an actual shower, Korean houses are small. So you want to take like a nice hot shower, right? I mean, Koreans are the same as us. We want to take a nice hot shower. You want to get really clean. As far back as Romans, people want to get really clean and take hot, long baths. You can't do that at your house traditionally because you have this tiny restroom. Your place is tiny. You don't have room to put a shower. Where are you going to shower? They didn't even care that their houses didn't have shower rooms, because when you need to shower, like actually shower, not just sesu, not just wash up real quick. You want to take a real shower, because Koreans like staying clean. You go to a bathhouse with other people and you shower there. You pay money, you walk in, you get a little towel, wash yourself off, you take a shower, then you go relax in the hot tub for like an hour, then you go into the cold bath, then you go into the hot bath, you kind of wait around, you talk with your friends, you take a break, you eat a snack, you'd have a hard-boiled egg, you drink some cold milk, you'd go, you take a nap, you go back in the shower, you go into the salt room, you go into the sauna, all of this stuff. It would be like a several-hour activity you would do whenever you wanted a bath with your friends or your family. This culture died. You can still do bathhouses, but now it's not a necessity. Now it is a special thing. Like you want to go there specifically to have all these types of baths and relax, but it's not like a part of your regular routine as it used to be. So as people in new houses started getting showers in their house, actual showers that they could use, and retrofitting their bathrooms into shower rooms, these sort of went away. So these are much less common than they used to be, but you can still find them. They're still there. If you want to find old 목욕탕, I believe, I hope I'm not spouting nonsense here, but if you see like a really tall smokestack in Korea, you'll see like a building, and at the top of it, it has this really tall smokestack. I believe those used to be the 목욕탕. Like they would use those for heating, and that was like the smoke coming off from heating up all the water. But correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I think, because I remember seeing a bunch of these smokestacks that would have the 목욕탕 or 찜질방 names written on them. So I think that was their general purpose, but I could be wrong, and they were also common for other uses. So don't quote me on that. But yeah, a lot of them are gone. There used to be gigantic ones that you would go to, and a lot of the really big ones have closed, and now you'll still see some smaller ones. But yeah, again, their purpose is now more for relaxing. It's like an activity. You go like, I want to take a nice bath and visit, you know, the sauna and just eat some eat some hard-boiled eggs and drink some milk and, you know, kind of take a day off. That's what they're for now. It's not so much like I have to go because I'm smelly. Okay, that was a really long history lesson, I guess. I wish there's a Korean in here who can give me some more information, because I think that's what they were for, but I don't want to teach something that's wrong. So I wish I could have a Korean person that was that could confirm that. Natalie says, do they turn off the water when they lather to save water? Yes. And you will do that too, because if you turn on the water in these types of bathrooms, if you turn on the water and make it warm, not even hot, but warm, you'll notice that your water only stays warm for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. The longest I've had at an Airbnb, I've done a lot of Airbnbs, the longest I've had is a place that stayed warm for 15 minutes. Which is totally fine for a shower. I mean, I can shower easily in under 15 minutes. But most of the places, they would start to get cool after about like 5 minutes of being on. So you turn it on, you get yourself all nice and wet, and you put soap all over yourself and scrub. And then you might want to wash off your face so you can see, finish scrubbing yourself off, and then turn back on the water and wash everything off. So you kind of make it like you don't waste the water. But it's not such a big deal because the showers are so small that once you've turned on the water for a couple minutes, the room's warm. So you're not like sitting there freezing like we would in the US if you turned off the water, because the shower is just part of the bathroom, right? And the rest of the bathroom's big. You stay pretty warm. So it's okay if you turn off the water. You're not going to really be complaining to anyone about that. Hey, Kai. Thanks again, Kai. I'll put your name here a second time. No question, Kai says, just a donation to say thank you for all the time, effort, and money you've spent in order to teach so many people and help us learn. Thank you. Okay, I think that's enough for today. We've been going on for a long time. Therme Roma Nova. Isn't that like the Rome guy who did the bathhouses? And they made like a Japanese comic about that as well. I think that's what you're talking about. He like traveled back to the Rome. No, he traveled into the future or back in time. Anyway, maybe I'm thinking about something else. But yeah, Rome had bathhouses. Korea had bathhouses. Japan still has bathhouses too, but I'm not sure how the culture's changed, because the last time I went to a bathhouse in Japan was 2005. So I don't know if they experienced the same change that Korea has, where the bathhouses are all disappearing, or if they still have that culture alive. But I do know that onsen, which is onsen, onsen, those bathhouses, that kind of like hot spring, is still really, really big in Japan, but not so big in Korea. Onsen would be like you'll find it's basically just like a bath, like a big bathtub that has like hot water where you would soak after you've already washed yourself off. You go inside and just kind of relax. Like a big bathtub. They have these, some are in Korea, but usually these are going to be at like, what do you call them? Like places that you would rent. I can't think of the name right now. You would rent this like a guest, kind of like you rent your own place, like a cabin. You might think of like a cabin or something. And there's a word for it. I can't think. I'm having a brain fart right now. But onsen, people will typically, Koreans like going to Japan onsen. So if you visit Japan, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to go to an onsen or whatever. That's still alive and well. But I don't know about the culture over there for if they still have bathhouses as much as they used to. I remember they used to have a lot. Rome to Japan. Okay, Evil Lafi, one last question. Not sure you see my suggestion, but I have a suggestion. Which Korean food for cheap travel? It's not a good idea. I mean, not a bad idea. Sorry. I was trying to say that's not a bad idea, but I was thinking, oh, that's a good idea. And I said, that's not a good idea. But I meant that's a good idea, not a bad idea. Sorry. Korean food for a cheap travel. Yeah, Korean cheap travel food. I'm going to write that down. Okay. Way to hurt their feelings. That's a terrible idea and you should feel bad about it. Okay. Thank you, everyone. No, kimbap is, I would say yes to kimbap, but also no, because kimbap is a whole other thing. Don't get me started on kimbap. That used to be, I would say that 10 years ago, if you asked me the cheapest Korean food, I would have said kimbap. Not anymore. Kimbap is no longer the cheapest Korean food I would recommend, because there was a cultural revolution with kimbap that happened around 2016 that changed what kimbap is in Korea. And it's not like the kimbap you buy at the store is what I'm talking about. It changed a lot of the perception of kimbap from a cheap food into something that's like an affordable snack, but much more expensive than it used to be. So it used to be an item you'd get for like 1,000원 or 1,500원 or 2,000원 for like fancy ones. Now in the mindset of Koreans, kimbap is no longer that sort of thing. Now it's more of like an affordable snack, and you think of it as like 4,000 to 5,000. So yeah, it's still affordable, but there are cheaper things you can eat nowadays. And no one just eats kimbap anyway. You can't just have one roll of kimbap. You're going to get like 2 or 3, and you got to get it with soup, and you got to get it with tteokbokki, or you got to get it with other food as well. Sorry, I'm not going to get started on that. We're going to go like another 20. Easily, I could talk another 20 minutes about that. Thank you for coming. And hopefully I can see you again next week. That'll be my last class before I go to Korea. And we'll do, I don't know what we'll do. I have to have all new voting options. So I have some new ready. So pay attention tomorrow. I'll post a vote on my channel. Thanks for coming. And I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.